When expats import personal items such as a car into South Korea, there are several important processes and checkpoints they need to navigate to ensure the import is legal, smooth, and compliant with Korean regulations. Below is a comprehensive guide on how the process typically works, as well as key checkpoints and requirements. 1. Eligibility and restrictions for importing personal items including cars. Before initiating the process, it is essential to understand whether you are eligible, and if there are any restrictions on importing personal goods, like a car into South Korea. Personal effects import expats are generally allowed to import personal belongings, including cars, without paying customs duties, provided the items are for personal use and are not for resale. The car must have been owned for a certain period, usually at least 6 months before the move to Korea. Residency requirement to import personal goods duty-free. You must have been a resident in a foreign country for more than 1 year prior to moving to Korea. You will also need to prove that you have been living abroad through documents such as employment contracts, tax returns, or proof of residence. Time limits: you typically need to import the car within 6 months after establishing residence in South Korea. 2. Car importation process key steps and checkpoints. Step 1. Documentation preparation. Before you can import a car, you will need several documents to prove ownership and establish your residency status. The required documents typically include passport proof of nationality and identity, Korean residence card proof that you are now a resident in South Korea, import declaration form. This can be obtained from the Korea Customs Service KCS, proof of ownership, a copy of the car's title, or registration documents showing that you have owned the vehicle for at least 6 months. Proof of overseas residence documents proving that you have lived outside South Korea for more than 1 year, such as an employment contract, lease agreement, or tax filings. Bill of lading, a document from the shipping company showing the car's shipment details. Insurance proof of insurance for the car, though this may be required later, depending on the port and circumstances. Original purchase invoice or sales agreement if the car was bought. This document is required to establish the value. Step 2. Arranging shipping. Once you have the necessary documents, the next step is to arrange for the car's shipping to South Korea. You can use an international shipping company that specializes in car imports. Key considerations include shipping method. Cars are typically shipped by sea. The most common shipping methods are roll-on roll-off RoRo, where the car is driven onto the ship, or container shipping, where the car is placed inside a container. Customs clearance port in South Korea. Major ports such as Incheon, Busan, and Gwangyang handle car imports. The destination port will affect shipping times and costs. Cost of shipping. Shipping costs will depend on the size and weight of the car, the shipping company, and the distance. Be prepared for significant shipping fees. Step 3. Import declaration and customs clearance. Once the car arrives at the South Korean port, it must go through customs clearance before it can be delivered to your address. Key points in this step. Customs declaration. You must file an import declaration with the Korea Customs Service KCS. This includes submitting the car's documentation and paying any relevant customs duties and taxes. This process is done through the Korean Customs Office at the arrival port. Customs duties and taxes. Typically, expats importing personal items including cars for personal use. Customs duty exemption. If the car has been used for at least 6 months abroad, it may qualify for duty-free importation under the personal goods importation exemption. Luxury tax. If the car's value exceeds a certain threshold, luxury tax will apply. This tax varies depending on the value of the vehicle. Environmental fees. Certain vehicles, especially older models, may also incur fees based on environmental standards e.g., emissions levels. Step 4. Vehicle inspection and modifications. All imported vehicles, including personal cars, must undergo inspection to ensure they comply with South Korean safety and environmental standards. Safety and emissions inspection. The vehicle will need to pass safety inspections and meet South Korea's strict emission standards. If the car does not meet these standards, you may need to make modifications, such as replacing the catalytic converter, changing tires, or altering lights to bring it into compliance. Korean safety standards. KS standards. Cars must meet South Korea's domestic standards, and any non-compliant parts or features may need to be replaced. Some common issues for imported cars can include headlamps, tires, and emission systems. Inspection fees. Fees for inspections vary but are typically charged for inspection, and you may need to work with a certified mechanic to ensure your vehicle passes the tests. Step 5. Registration and licensing. Once the car clears customs and passes inspection, it can be registered with the Korean Motor Vehicle Administration (KMVIA). The process typically involves the following. Registration documents: submit the import declaration, proof of inspection, proof of residence, and any additional documents e.g., proof of insurance. License plates. Once the vehicle is registered, you will receive Korean license plates for the car. Insurance. As in most countries, you must have mandatory car insurance, including third-party liability before driving the vehicle on public roads. You'll need to provide proof of insurance to register the car. Step 6. Payment of taxes. Taxes. After customs clearance and vehicle registration, you'll need to pay local vehicle taxes, which can vary based on the car's engine size, weight, and age. Registration tax. This is a tax based on the value of the vehicle, and it is payable at the time of registration. It's usually calculated as a percentage of the vehicle's appraised value. Local taxes. You may be subject to additional taxes like annual vehicle taxes, road tax, and local municipality taxes. Step 7. Delivery of the car. Once all documentation is processed, inspections are completed, and taxes are paid, the car can be delivered to your home. The delivery process typically takes a few days to a few weeks, depending on the port and logistics involved. Important checkpoints to remember. Document verification. Ensure that all documents e.g., proof of ownership, overseas residence, import declaration, are complete and correct. Compliance with emission standards. Check whether your vehicle complies with South Korea's environmental and safety standards. Modifications may be necessary for older or non-standard vehicles. Shipping and customs fees. Be prepared for significant shipping costs, taxes, and inspection fees, especially if the car's value is high, or if it does not meet local standards. Customs duty and tax rates. Ensure that you are aware of the applicable taxes, such as VAT and luxury taxes, before importing the vehicle. Time limit. You must complete the importation process within 6 months of establishing residency in South Korea to be eligible for duty-free importation. Insurance. You will need to get local insurance for the vehicle before driving it on Korean roads. Conclusion. Importing a personal vehicle, like a car, into South Korea as an expat involves several steps, including documentation, shipping, customs clearance, inspections, registration, and payment of various taxes. The process can be time-consuming and may require modifications to meet local standards. However, understanding the key steps and checkpoints will help make the process smoother and more efficient. For complex cases, it is advisable to consult with a professional import-export agency or a customs broker, who can help navigate the regulatory landscape and ensure compliance with all legal requirements.